We have taken the single view application here. That is the default application. We got one view controller. View controller is having a property that is view, which is visible here. Today we are going to deal with UI table view. Let's drag and drop UI table view. However, we have drag and dropped a button, a label, or switch, or anything. Table view. Here we are having three variety of things. First one we are interested in. This is table view. Table view contains table view cell. This is cell. To represent any cell in a table view, you have to take the object of this, so that the entire thing becomes a table view controller. Instead of doing all this stuff, you can directly take the table view controller to do that as well. Okay, but I have view controller. I want to convert that into a table view controller. Simply, this is the UI control which I want to drag and drop. Similar to label or button. Set the width and height. Set the frame. This is table view. Table view contains table view cell. Basically, the purpose of table view is to display a collection of items. Let me have a collection here first. Items is string array. I'm having 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have collection of items. I want to display this collection of items on user interface. So this can be done by using table view. On the label, we can display one element, or you have to club all these elements and put in the single label or text view. But I want to display each item in different rows. Each item in different rows. Table view is the view control, one of the UI control which provides such facility. Here, this is the table view. Table view displays the table view rows. Table view displays the table view rows. Those rows are called table view cells. This is UI table view. Table view holds UI table view cells. Let's drag and drop the cell. Table view cell. This is the cell. Okay, I want to display the table view. I want to display the text. I have collection of texts. Those I want to display in table view. I have taken the table. I want to display I want to represent the text in the form of cell. This is called table view cell, or rows we can call. Table view and a couple of rows. This is cell. Okay. Let us have outlets for this. And before outlets, what I want to do is, we have seen three kind of controls. One is passive component. Even if you tap on that, nothing happens. One is active component, which connects to the button, which is kind of an action. Third one is active component with lifecycle methods. That is text field. Similarly, table view is also having its own lifecycle methods, like delegate. But your text field is having only one protocol, whereas table view has two protocols, delegate and data source. Let's do this. I'm just connecting data source first. Data source. I am implementing the data source methods. Extension view controller, UI, table view, data source. This is the protocol which I am adapting. The view controller is adapting. It is showing error because there are two required methods. In a protocol, there might be having optional methods as well as required methods. Whereas UI table view data source is having two required methods. To construct this table view, they need to follow some rules. See here, UI table view data source. The required required is mentioned here in Objective-C syntax. These are the two methods. What are those two methods? Number of rows, number of cells do you need? How many number of cells do you need? And here we have to return these many number of cells I want. And cell for row index path. What content you want to represent on the table cell? Prepare that cell and return that cell. We need to do those two things. Okay. Here, what it is asking for? Number of rows. How many number of rows we need? Dot count, right? Items dot count. Return items dot count. These many number of rows I want. How many rows here? 0 to 7 means 8 rows I want. 0 to 7, 8 rows I want. And what is the next method? Next required method? Or return TableView cell. Return TableView cell. And what is the input? If you see here, I am getting TableView is input. Index path is input. These two are the inputs which I am getting. TableView is one argument. Index path is another argument. Here it is asking for TableView, right? Let me return TableView cell. I'm just returning it. Okay. Even this is not required actually. Let me remove this as well. I have simply TableView. On TableView, I want to represent TableView cell. Here, TableView cell we have created and returning it. And we already conveyed TableView. You are going to be controlled by view controller. Data source we have set. Run it. We see the empty TableView and run it on the iPhone 11. We don't see anything here. There is a table actually, but we don't see because the table is empty. Yeah, it is empty. Okay, but if you see, there are 8 rows created, but content is not there. 8 rows are created, but content is not there. What we do is, let me create a cell that cell equal to table cell and see what it has. Style empty also we have empty. Cell contains a couple of properties. One property is text label. Text label is actually a text label is a label property. Label is having a property called text, right? Text. Now, an item. I'm taking one item from the items array. Items array here index path, right? Index path contains two properties. One is row, another one is section. Let me print that. Index path dot row, index path dot section. I'm just printing out. And we are taking one item here. Here, what is index path dot row? Index path dot row, it gives you, it needs 10 cells, right? Or 8 cells right now. It needs 8 cells. At very first time, what it gives you is 0. For give me the table cell for the 0th cell. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. 0 to 7. The index is 0 to 7. Actually, there are 8 elements. Anyways, we're printing it here. Let me return this. We're typing an item. Yeah, first item. At very first time, what is index path dot row here? 0 to 7. 0 to 7. I'm taking the first index path dot row. At very first, this method gets called for 7 times. Sorry, 8 times. This method gets called for 8 times. Okay, let me show you that as well. Clear, right? See what is index path dot row and what is index path dot section. Index path dot row is 0 to 7. The row starts from 0. And this is section. Section means groups actually. This is 0th section. This is 0th section. We can have multiple groups actually. Multiple sections also we can have. Number of sections. Written, let me have 2 sections here. Okay, 0 to 7 is printed. Again, 0 to 7 is displayed. Here, if you see, the section is 0th section. This is the first section. The indexes starts from the indexes of the section starts from 0. It does not start from 1. And the index path that row starts from 0 to n minus 1. Okay, in the array also we have same concept, right? The index starts from 0 to n minus 1, so that I can directly pass the index here, index path that row. We are creating a cell, and this is clear, right? I'm just removing it. We are creating a cell and taking the content, setting the content, returning the cell. Clear? This is how we can set number of rows. This method is also from the TableView data source only. In the TableView data source, this is the optional method. Number of sections. There is number of sections. Number of sections in TableView. How many number of groups you want? Okay, to make it much clear, the TableView is having a property display style plain grouped. Now see the differences. If you want to differentiate each section separately, see there we got some gap here. 0 to 7 is printed. Again, 0 to 7. Multiple groups we can have. Here, what is happening? We are creating a cell here, right? We are creating a cell here. Let me have 3 sections or 4 sections. Let me have 4 sections here. 4 into 8, almost 38 cells we are creating. What is happening? Whenever you are scrolling up and down, you can observe here. The cells are getting created, the cells are getting created, the cells are getting created. This is not the correct way of doing. Because when user scrolls up and down, the cells are creating, new cells are getting created, new memory is allocating. This is not correct. Okay, we are creating it here. TableView we have drag and drop, but we are not allocating programmatically anywhere. Label we have drag and drop, we have not allocated anywhere. Yesterday we have created label programmatically so that we don't have to drag and drop from the storyboard on the storyboard. Similarly, instead of creating a cell here, we can have one on TableView here itself on the storyboard. Let me create a TableView cell. This is the actual way of using. This is the way everybody uses. Ignore this. Whatever we have created, I just wanted to show you what the method is asking. That is what we have written. But actual way of implementation is this. Anybody takes, the developer takes this and sets some identifier. That is item cell. And here, ignore this logic now. We need to get a cell. Let cell equal to, we are asking TableView DQ reusable cell with identifier. What is our cell name? Item cell, right? This is what the identifier which you have given here. Identifier is very, very important. Item cell. If you give some random identifier, it gives you error. TableView DQ cell with this you can comment now. Now cell dot text label dot text. The same thing you can have. This is cell. We are taking the item, passing the cell. I'm just removing these two. Yeah. TableView cell. Okay, here the cell we are getting. For the cell, we are setting it. The cell is optional. What the DQ reusable cell with identifier does? What it does is, it creates a new cell every time if there is no free cell. It creates new cell every time if there is no cell. If a cell is free, it simply reuses the cell. DQ reusable cell with identifier. What we did previously, we created this is initializer, right? We created n number of cells each time when user scrolls up and down. We created n number of cells. Here, what happens when you use identifier with DQ reusable cell with identifier. Basically, the table view maintains a queue. The table view maintains a queue, and the queue contains how many number of visible cells. Assume that here I can see some 20 cells. The table view creates 22 cells, even there are 30 or 50 lines. What it does when you scroll up, the zeroth cell is going hidden, right? The zeroth cell will be used at the bottom. The first cell will be used at the bottom again, because the first cell is free now. The cell is used at the bottom. The row 2, this cell is used at the bottom. When you scroll down, again, whatever is going hidden, that will be used at the top. This is what the mechanism, what happens internally when you use DQ reusable cell with identifier. Basically, the cells are reused with so-and-so identifier. What it does, I can also show you if there is something. Returns a reusable table view cell object after locating it by identifier. We are giving identifier. If with this identifier any of the cell is free, that is returned. See here, your table view cell optional. It may or may not be returnable, because the identifier, you have identifier, right? If it is proper identifier, then it returns. Otherwise, it does not return. Any doubts here? Any doubts so far? This is how the table view is constructed. Okay, number of cells, even if you're creating cell, the method is printing, but actually it is not creating, it is reusing. It is reusing. Here, maximum of there are 8 plus 8, 16 plus 2 more cells will be created for reusing. Totally, even if you are having 1000 objects here, how many number of rows are visible? Plus 1 or 2 will be created. 1 or 2 will be allocated, memory allocated for. If there are 10 cells are visible, 12 cells are allocated. If there are only 5 cells are visible, 6 cells are created. Previously, when you allocate by using this, we have created cell equal to so and so, your table cell initializer. What happened? Even if you scroll up and down, or if you have 1000 lines will be created. 1000 your table cells will be created, but not here. DQ reusable cell with identifier is very, very important. You will definitely face a question. What is DQ reusable cell with identifier? Table view maintains a queue that is called DQ, which returns a cell to reuse with given identifier, which gives a reusable cell. The name itself is very clear. Queue with reusable cell with so-and-so identifier. Okay. Now, I want to display 2 sections, but I have 2 different arrays here. I have 2 different arrays. Okay. Let me have only 1 section for now, and let me show the other here. Any doubts? Otherwise, go on mute. Table view is having style, grouped style, plain style, insert grouped. Let's see what is inserted group. We have only 1 section. We cannot see that actually. Yeah. Also see. Is here. Go on mute. Inserted group. Now, table view is having some properties like style. Even the table cell is also having some style. Custom style, basic, left detail, right detail, subtitle. Let's say right detail. Right detail is this. You can display 2 labels, 2 contents, name and roll number. Name, roll number. Instead of that plain values, so let us take some actual values. Let me create a struct. What is that? Phone. Phone contains like a brand, which is a string, let price, float, let model, which is string. Instead of strings, we can have phones. Let me create a phone. Phone of brand Apple, price 49,123. Model iPhone 9. Let's say iPhone 10, iPhone X. iPhone 9 we do not have it, right? Samsung 32,000. Samsung AC something. Realme 16,000. 8 Pro. Nokia 311 something 999. Okay. Now I have a couple of phones. I want to display these items on the table view. How to display? Here we are getting here we are getting cell dot text label dot text. Let me take a phone. A phone. How to get the A phone? Items index path dot row. Index path dot row by the first and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, right? And so on. N minus 1 equal to a phone that brand. Also, I want to print brand and model. Okay, how to print that? Two strings, right? We can club them, right? Plus some space and a phone. A phone dot brand plus a phone dot model. I just want to give some hyphen here. It's hyphen. And cell dot detail text label dot text. Detail text label is second label. Whether it is right detail, bottom detail, subdetail, anything. Price I want to display here. Model plus price I want to display. Price is float actually. So I want to convert a phone dot price. A phone dot price. Let's write. Different things can also be shown on the table view. Here I have taken the cell type we have modified. Right detail, right? Right detail. Similarly, let us have left detail. Title and detail both are almost in the middle. Left side actually. Left detail. Subtitle. Subtitle. This is how the subtitle looks like. Okay. I also want to show images. I also want to show the images at somewhere. Let's see. Even the view controller by default is having a view. Similarly, the text field is also having some properties. One is text label, another one is detail text label, another one is indicator. Let me show you. Accessory type equal to detail disclosure, detail button. This is indicator. Text field is having some properties. If you want, we can use them. See the indicator. See the indicator. And I can also have check mark. There's something called check mark. By default, all these check marks are there. You can make selection on unselected. We see that as well. At present, make detail disclosure indicator indicator. Now I want to display image. Even though the cell contains image view. Anyways, let us drag a few images here. A, B, C, D. Okay. Here the image, how to give image also I will see. I'll show you here. Let image equal to, which is string I'm taking. Okay. Here pass string. The first image name is here, right? Pass A. Second image pass B. Third image pass C. Fourth image pass D. Okay, we are also having the phone is equally image names as well. How to set image names here? Cell dot image view is one property which is having in a table cell class. It is asking for image. How to create image and pass? It is asking for image. If you see, it is asking for UI image. LHS is UI image. RHS I am making UI image named A4 dot image. A4 dot image. Run it. Images also can be displayed. Images can also be displayed. Okay. Is this clear? Let me change the type so that it will be little bigger. Table view instead of that take plain. It is little bigger. Even I want to increase the cell height. For increasing the cell height, there are methods. There are methods. This is one protocol, right? There is one more protocol that is called UI table view delegate. In interviews, they will ask you what is the difference between UI table view data source and UI table view delegate. What is DQ reusable cell with identifier? What is reuse identifier? What are the default required methods? About table view, you'll definitely 1000% you will face a question about table view. The questions will be in different forms. What are the two protocols we need to implement? What is the difference between data source and delegate? What are the two required methods? What is the minimum number of sections by default? By default, even without this also, there is one section. What is DQ reusable cell with identifier? How it helps? How many number of rows created when you use DQ reusable cell with identifier? Now, the method which I am interested in is height of the table cell. Height for row at index path. Height for row at index path. Height for row at index path. Here it is asking for CG float. Let's return 100. 100 is the height of the row. By default, it is 40 something. This method is not called for sure because we have not told table view you are controlled by your delegate is so and so. Actually, the height method is from table view delegate. Now see, got it? Let me show you what are the different methods that the data source contains. The data source contains number of sections, number of rows in section. For each section, if you are having multiple sections, for so and so row, for so and so section, how many number of rows you want? Cell for row at index path for so and so section and so and so row. What is the cell? What kind of cell you want to display? Return, give me the cell, I can display that. The remaining things are optional. Number of sections in table by default it is 1. Title for header and section, title for footer and section. Even we can display titles header and footer, right? Let me show you that. Title for header and section. Title for header and section written and just writing phones. Phones is displayed here. If you see the header, footer also, if you want something, you can display. Title for footer and section. Title for footer and section. Title for photo injection and this is footer, this is header. What other methods the data source having? Data source basically what it does is it helps to create the table view. It helps to create the table view. Can I edit row index path? Can I edit it or not? Can move row index path? Section index titles, section for section index title, commit editing style, move row index path. These are the methods which are there in data source. Data source provides metadata about the table view. Metadata about the table view means to construct the table view, what information you need, that information methods are provided by the table view data source. Table view data source provides the metadata for the table view construction. That is what you need to explain. Table view data source. So table view data source provides metadata to construct a table view. Table view delegate. Delegate what it does whenever user is interacting, like whenever user is clicking. See the methods. There are many methods. Will display, about to display, will display header view, will display footer view, and displaying, kind of displaying how exactly it should be displayed, and interaction methods are available in the data source. Height, what is the height of the header, what is the height of the footer, height of the row, estimated row height, view for header, if you want to supply any view for the header, view for the section. Did select row at index path is the one which we are generally interact with. Did select row at index path. There are many methods which are required. We definitely have a look here. This is also table view data delete method. This one, and I want to check did select row at index path. Which item is selected? We are getting index path. We are reading here. We are reading here and we are getting index path, and we are identifying which item to display. Same thing, we are getting index path. We are identifying which item is clicked. Did select row at index path selected. When user is selected, this method gets called. I'm just printing a phone. I'm just selecting it. See what is printed? Apple is printed 49,999. Model is iPhone X. Image is the whatever we have put here. Image name. This is something. This is something. This is something. This way we can also display. We can have much customization. We can have food items, different things we can have by using table view. Any doubts here? Okay,